steps, the process of it. Like you have to import into the Hadoop file system, and then from there you can create a service, right? You can write the data into the create table, right? You can table create, you can do, and then you can um, load data local path command. You can write the data or load data local local path you will use. You will not use pin path because whenever the data is already in your Hadoop file system, we use without in path. Local without local keyword. Without local keyword, we use load data in path. Okay. Whenever data is there in the Hadoop file system, we use load data local in path. Okay. So you will load the data. So that is a two-step process, right? So another way is there, like we can write a sqoop import command directly, right? It will be creating underlying table, right? But it will be created by the sqoop import itself. Okay. So we don't need to manually load data into Hadoop file system and load into the table. So we will be loading data into table.
Hmm?
The way, like if I import the data into non-partition table or partition table, okay. But sqoop is not suggesting, sqoop is not giving the dynamic partition, right? So sqoop cannot load the data dynamically into the partition table. Okay, it can do static, right? Whatever way you do manual is like a static way in Hive. Okay, so same like you can do with the sqoop. Okay, so there is an option, right? You can load the data, the entire data you can load into the Hive source table. Okay, by using sqoop, and then you can apply the dynamic partition. So that is one option. Okay, or you do manually every time you will be loading data in the sqoop. Okay. So like how many partitions are there? Each partition you run one command. Okay, so then you can load the data into partition table. So first we go with the non-partition table. The non-partition table where there is no partition, right? It's just a source table, and we are going to run the sqoop import command. Okay, so I have some table. I say sqoop to, I check the database, which database sqoop. The tables are. So this table we are using. Okay, what is the table we are using? The table M1. Okay, so this table is there, and this table has. And whenever you are writing data using sqoop in Hive table, so you should not be running Hive because Metastore DB instance can be only one at a time. Okay. So what sqoop is doing, sqoop is basically connecting to your Hive, and it is starting on the runtime. It will start your MySQL. Sorry, you will be starting your Metastore DB because this sqoop will start starting and inserting the data into the table. Okay. So when I say like when I want to write sqoop import command, that time your Hive should not be running. You cannot check in the Hive at the same time. You can run the command you have
अगर
to,
दोनों के भी छीनना चुनते हैं
so you can run the command once your hive this scoop import is done, scoop hive import is done, then you can. Okay. So here the database, like I'm giving an option create hive table. The create hive table option is like I want to create the table on the fly in the hive. So in the first of all, I should have the database, right? Because this database should be present before. And whatever table I'm going to create, I'm giving a new table name. And this table name, I'm specifying the hive table name. And the field terminated in the file, the fields will be terminated by comma. Okay, if you want to keep it any other delimited character, you can keep it. But it's not mandatory because comma is a default delimited character. And here you have to do like hive override. Suppose you want to insert the entire data of the table, you want to overwrite, you can do. Or one first time you are doing, so hive overwrite or like hive append, right? Whatever you use this name. Okay. And this is a one more thing is a warehouse directory. So this warehouse directory should not present before because otherwise it will give the error, right? So warehouse directory is some directory we are creating, like where our data will be stored, right? Like underlying data will be stored some target layer. Okay. So first I'm going to check my this warehouse. If it is not created, so I can create. Otherwise, I can. So this last directory is my table, whatever table name you can give or something, right? So this is not there. So I can go with this. Otherwise, I can change the name. Okay. I will run the script. Split by right? Like multiple like files will be created, right? So you can use. If you want to track the job, right? This is the resource manager URL. So we should know also this URL also how to like we can check the cluster, right? We can check our cluster and this job is running. So here we can see the same log. There also we can see log. So here how many files are creating? Why 4 is creating? Can anyone tell? Why? What is the reason the 4 is creating? Because map is 4 time divided, right? 0 to 25, 25 to 50, 50 to 70. Why it is not creating 2 file or 1 file or the reason? Yeah, I already explained this thing, right? Hmm. You remember minus m parameter what it does? You are not getting this voice, right? So what minus m does? What minus m does? Am I using m minus m parameter here? Any minus m I'm using here?
Default number of mappers.
Yeah. So minus m is like a number of mappers, right? I'm using here? No, right? I'm not using here, right? So what will be the default value if I'm not using minus m? So what is the default value? 3, right? That is the reason this 4 are creating. Okay. The minus m is you are not giving. If you're giving 1, so it will create only 1 file. Okay. But I'm not giving here in this case, so it is creating the 4 output file. And because we are using a split by column, right? But I have not specified the same parameter. So these are very common questions, right? Like the total number of mappers, right? That if the scoop is not providing, they are not providing manually, so it will be taking. Can you see here how many files are created? Data file, not success. Success means that always will come. It is a zero size, but your data is distributed into the 4 file. Okay, so how many records you have to see one file that you have just get. One record. So it is divided, right? How many records? Right. Okay. So, so we have seen that the data is loaded, but this data is I will be so what is the arrow? Store DB exception. So if I have not started Hive, but I have to start Metastore DB. Okay. Because if Metastore DB is not running the service, so it will not be able to. Hive service. If we run this command again, what happens? Can anyone tell? What will happen, right? Just it's a very practical question, right? Right, if I run this now as it is, if I run any error will come. What error will come? Error will come.
Directory already exists.
Because this is not only Hive, right? Everywhere, right? Because not only Hive, right? MapReduce, right? To anywhere, right? So this is we have to use to. Okay. So now we are running again. Okay. So this will be a different directory. The data will be loaded, and this data will be pointing to the Hive table. So that is the reason the data and the table both are data. Definitely the data came and that data is populated into the table because we are giving the option creating a table and populating the data into the table. So this is the case for the non-partition table. And you can check the table like show create table command. You can verify table. You can verify table is created, not created. You show create table and then you can see the schema on the table. Show create table. So, which PB will work yesterday? The last time hive we used before scoop, right? We got by creating the tables, right? We have done the different file format data, right? Started we use PDF movies, created external table, internal table, partition table. So these all concepts. This was the database. So scoop part is completed and it has loaded data. First two sections divided. One is scoop loading the data into Hadoop file system. And second one is to log into the hive and run the data load. Now this time you can see the hive import is completed, right? So it has successfully written the data into the Okay, we'll check it in hive. So like can you tell what is the reason why this not so? It is what is a DSC? First we check our hive table scheme and whatever import we are doing. Okay, so what is I say everything is wrong here. ID. So ID is not able to take the string value. Okay. So that is the reason it's null. But string can take any type of value. So string is not problem. Only the ID column is integer type, and we are trying to write string. So here, if you look at what is when we are giving table, so whatever the table, okay, let's see the table in MySQL, what is the system? Table we see ID is first, name is gender, okay, ID is first, then name. So as per this data is coming, right? So it is loading in the file. If we check the whatever corresponding file is there, if I check the and here, if I check the file, see whatever file is, if file is not matching the sequence of the column in the table, it will okay, so what is the sequence of the data here in the file? Because file is as it is column, same column sequence it will load. So if the data type, the data it will load, I already told you it is a schema only. So it is not checking any data type at the time of writing, but when we are reading the data, then it is giving the error. So if I check the file, I will find the ID is first, name is second. Okay, so if I check ID, same is like whatever is in your MySQL, same is coming here. But whatever my schema, as per my schema is same. Okay. But now what is the solution? What is the solution? So one is like either you can change the like your but this table is not in your hand, right? Like who is creating this table? And Scoop is creating this table, right? So we should have another way, right? Because we are using a table. We are using a table, so it's randomly giving a sequence, right? So there is a way if you use minus minus query attribute here. If you use minus minus query instead of doing table minus minus query, so what it will do if I change this one, so minus minus query, here then you will give the sequence, what sequence you are saying. I want okay, I want age, ID, name, and okay, from my table, so I'm going to go develop now. Now what the advantage you will get? You will get the data properly. Because select query, you can change the sequence. Okay, it doesn't matter, right? Whatever table data, but column wise data should be good. After that, whatever sequence you want, you will be doing select query in the hive, you will get the data, right? So if you want the data, you can choose. Okay, but first thing is you have to use this means query. Did you understand the issue? Because this issue you should know, right? Because generally this kind of problem will come when you are importing data into the hive. Okay. And when you know, right, what is the file sequence, if you're manually creating table, if you don't create table here, if you don't say here, create table for you, okay, just give the hive import and without giving create hive table, in that case, you have to create your own table. So if you create your own table, then you can have the chance that you can do any format between. Okay, if you use minus n parameters, so it will bring only one single frame. So this thing. So this type import complete. Okay, I'm not going to check again. Okay, but it's will come. Okay, we'll see that. We will see the partition one first. Okay, okay, we have to again um, stop and start here to do. Okay, so we see that next thing is we should do the partition one. So static partition one. So static partition one is like the same things will here. Like suppose I say male partition, okay, gender male. Like I have a two partition values are there. I want to create a number of partitions. So here I'm giving like a different partition you can give. Okay, suppose I want to create a male partition data split by create hive table. Here, this is an important thing, like hive partition key. If you are not giving this hive partition key and hive partition value, it will not become a partition table. So if you see in the last command or this command, what is the difference? Partition key and partition value, because any partition table has partition key and partition value. Because static partition, you define partition column and which, because one partition column can have multiple values. So partition key will remain same. If you want to insert another partition, the partition key is same, only partition value will keep changing, right? Suppose you are saying, like in the source table, I want to get this condition, and that will go to the one partition key and value. Next time I'm going to say, okay, this particular where condition, second where condition is going to go into second one. Okay. So this way you can load the data into your hive table partition table. Okay. But one more thing is here, when we are creating the partition, so I will not take all four columns. I will be taking, because the partition column is the gender, so that will be logical column. That's not a part of create table, right? So when we are create table syntax, whenever you write, you don't specify in the field, right? You don't specify in the field. You write in the partition by clause, right? So same thing will happen here. So that is the reason we are giving only three fields data we are taking. We don't need to take the gender field here, because gender is already understood. This all data, whatever coming is a gender male, right? So now let's create this one. So suppose I change here target directory, and now I'm changing, okay, with my database to go to the say I partition M, and another one I create my partition unit. I partition. This is the warehouse directory. Name is name, right? You can keep it anything. Wait. Okay. So now I run the second command. Mhm. Now we will So two, or it will be giving actually we have to give the same table name. So, okay. But we created one separate table for four. Okay. The table name we have to keep it same because partition table it will not be any table already exists. So um, okay, data location can be different, but can use same table so that in the same table you can see the same table, the same table. You can try same table and then so the two records are coming. Whatever record is the matching record, only that record is coming. Right? Those records are coming in condition. We created a one this table type. We want to verify the data. Last time we did change on the column name. So we got the last and second column null. Now, now we are getting the proper data type. If I see, first column ID, second is name and gender, right? So we are getting proper data, right? So that is working. And this example, just you change. I will share this in the same here. I'm sharing, okay. And somebody asked me a file. I shared it. Okay, the common access log file. Okay, here I put it. Okay, so I will upload it also. Still finding section 5. Okay, so this one, or in 5 years. Okay, anyone has any question on this? We have one more thing is one is merge update is pending. How to when we import data, suppose something is changed in the existing data, so how to do merge? Okay, so that thing is pending. When the in the export is pending. I will complete that tomorrow. Okay, so only video is pending. I will upload the video. Thanks everyone.
Thanks.